this movement has taken root and is growing. And not just growing slowly, it's growing rapidly.
Drunkards, like I've seen on these islands. I've seen elderly women out there on the island in bikinis with stretch marks. Makes me sick. Somebody's grandma should be covered up somewhere. Your oppressors smile in your face and take your resources through neo-colonialism.
That sound like hellish words, by the way. You can't call my guest that. That's not nice. I gotta cut you.
What do you call me?
I first believe that your guest is COINTELPRO.
Oh gosh, now we COINTELPRO. We COINTELPRO. All of us got smartphones. You listeners online, you got smartphones. Type in Jesus on your smartphone and see what man pops up. God is telling you who that man of sin is. He just did it in a code that Christianity, because I guarantee you in that Baptist church, you ain't never read about the description of the man of sin. Hey, Shalom Israel, I am Captain Zakar. I'm here with
Officer Israel,
Officer Gabriel,
Officer Elijah,
Officer Reuben,
Officer Tahan.
and we here at the Nassau Guardian about to bring the truth to Benji down here in Nassau, Bahamas. Stay tuned for the video. Shalom.
Shalom.
In men who is seeking a path of spirituality and identity amongst them. And I want to know that should we, as traditional Christians, traditional Muslims, traditional Jewish, last time I say Jewish, they pronounce it, they're Jewish, right? They're Jews. Anyway, I ain't go there yet. Should we, as Bahamians, be wary, concerned that this movement has taken root and is growing? And not just growing slowly, it's growing rapidly, because the numbers are swelling like crazy. And that's what I'm going to be talking about, right? I want to welcome my guests. Who is most senior? Because I know that y'all go by rank.
Yes, that would be me.
Make sure his mic is up for me, please, so everyone can hear him, and that he can formally introduce himself. Because I'm used to captains. I'm not sure if you're a captain.
Yeah, I'm Captain Zakar.
You look too young to be a captain. All the captains who have come on the show already, matured gentlemen with gray hair, and you look like
I got a few there. I got a few.
Yes.
But you know, wisdom doesn't care how old you are, as long as you follow in the commandments of God, and your whole heart, mind, body, and soul is after Him. Wisdom will dwell wherever. That's what God has said. It'll go wherever you at, no matter your age. If you seek wisdom, keep the commandments of God and the faith in Jesus the Christ. And wisdom said she's sitting at the doorstep waiting on you.
They always sound polite and they well spoken. These educated men always come there. The educated black men, right? I have Erin Green who's joining me today. She have never joined me before, but I wanted her to put some questions to the good gentlemen, right? Regarding their movement, regarding how they embrace worship, how they embrace their identity. It's about identity.
Yeah,
right.
And you mentioned should traditional Christians, traditional Muslims, and Jewish people be concerned. If you are of black, Native American, or Hispanic origin, you shouldn't be worried at all. Not if you are a truth seeker, because that's what we are about. We come straight out of the Bible as it is written, and we bring truth to those things that many of our people have never thought of. For instance, of the Christianity. Us being in Christianity as a people, what is the roots of that? Because when we was on the other side of the earth, none of us was out here saying, I'm a Baptist. Nobody was saying I'm a Seventh-day Adventist and things of that nature. What's the main religion here on the island of Nassau for people?
Christianity.
Yeah, denomination?
Yeah.
The majority of us are Baptists,
Okay.
in terms of numbers.
Okay.
But traditionally Anglicans because of the British history we have.
Okay.
But in terms of numbers, the majority are Baptists.
Baptist, Anglican, Catholic, and Methodist.
Okay.
Yeah.
And none of those have anything to do with black folks before 1619. Not one of them. And this is where we challenge people with truth, Because a lot of us like to live in the present and want to forget the past. Because our past is painful as a people. We all know that we was brought here in the 1600s by the British. Some of us got dropped off in the islands, and some of us was dropped off in the Americas by the British, right? We try to forget that past, but our past helps identify who we are to God. Because God said that those things would happen to a people in the past, and their past would tell them who they are in the present time.
I want to ask you this,
Yeah.
right? Because I know any minute now you can say, "Oh, I have someone who needs to read."
Oh,
You don't like reading scripture. You
Yeah.
don't like reading scripture, right?
Yeah.
And my stepfather listens.
Okay.
Every time I say the Hebrew Israelites or the Israelites or Israel united in Christ is coming, he reminds me. He always says, "Cecil." Even the devil quoted scripture to Christ. Right? I just said, he listening now. So if I didn't say that out loud, he would be concerned. So Cecil, he even tell me concerned. I'm entertaining you, good gentlemen.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you this: how y'all get in the Bahamas? I know y'all Americans, right? I had an American accent, but how y'all get here and taking root in the? How y'all get here, man?
Hey, I got a scripture for you. Give me that in the book of Psalms here. How did the truth of the Bahamians, I'm going to make sure I say that right, how did that get here into the Bahamas? And it's not only in the Bahamas. We have bishops, deacons, captains, officers right now that are spread all over the earth about to celebrate the Lord's Passover at this coming sundown. Before we get into that, I just want to say that that Israel United in Christ was started by Bishop Nathaniel, Bishop Yawasop, and Bishop Kanai in 2003 in New York, and it has spread all over the world. So how did it get there? Because you see man doing it, but it's a spiritual aspect behind it. In the book of Psalms, chapter 19, and it's verse 3 and 4, if we could read that.
The book of Psalms, chapter 19 and verse 3. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard.
God is speaking about his prophets that he put his spirit on. Everywhere in the last days that the voice of those men, it would be heard everywhere. Now here's the point, verse 4.
Their line
with me the word. Go ahead.
is going out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world.
Read.
In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun.
Now, the reason why it has gone out throughout the world, so speaking about history, the black man's history, the black woman's history, Native American and Hispanics history, during the 1600s when the slave trade was at its height, the 1400s as well for our Hispanics brothers, where was so-called black people placed at? All over the world. We were shipped everywhere. We didn't just come from the west coast of Africa to America. Some of us were shipped to Europe. Some of us was shipped down to Australia, down to South Africa, some to East India. Some of us were sent to Iran. We were sent everywhere all over the world. The whole world got rich off the black man's back. The whole world. Even the economy here in Nassau. They are rich after. We were just talking about that, right? The aragonite, is that what it's called? Aragonite, is that what it's called? Am I saying it right?
I call it sand.
Sand. Okay, that's a better, easier name to say it. The world is now, they've always gotten rich off of that, but now they're running out of their resources in Europe, because without Africa and them poaching Africa of all their resources, Europe is nothing but a third world country. God calls it the bottomless pit in the Bible. Without Africa and their resources, that place is a third world country, a whole continent. Now they're running out of sand. What are they doing? Come over here, get rich off of black people's back again. Take the sand, make all the electronics and building and concrete and things they need to build up their kingdom, and give the Bahamians crumbs, tips, survive off of that.
I want to know, what is your objective as an organization?
Before you go there, I just want to say, what you described, some people would call it neocolonialism, right?
Yeah.
This
still.
Right, a global political and economic practice where developed countries maintain their development right? Through the underdevelopment of other countries and I'd say an unnatural and unbalanced extraction of resources.
Yeah, and that's biblical. That is biblical. That's what a lot of people don't understand, and that's what we bring. Because I hate to say this to my Baptist brothers, but I was raised Baptist in the States. Christianity as a whole is meant to keep black folk asleep and docile while your oppressors smile in your face and take your resources through neo-colonialism.
That sound like hellish words, by the way.
I know it does.
No, it sound like hellish words.
They came to set the island on fire.
May I, if
Yes, go ahead.
if I could sort of not intervene because that's such a loaded word. What I want to say is that if we do a reading of history, and if we understand that many African descent enslaved people's experience of Christianity, what they were taught, what they were allowed to consume, comes from a particular edition of the Bible that we commonly call the slave Bible.
It was a slave Bible.
Now, right? And
Yeah.
so for those who are saying, yeah, but I still a Christian, perhaps what the gentleman is saying is that the Christianity that was forced upon you is intended to create a docile, enslavable person.
It's a Eurocentric viewpoint.
And
of the Bible.
right, and
Aaron,
hold on, in that
I gotta
space,
stop you because she's talking blasphemy.
But I mean, first of all, I talk in that may be blasphemy,
You're just
right?
blasphemous words.
But the idea is that for all of us to hold a space in this conversation, right? We come to the conversation not all agreeing, but for all of us to hold a space in the conversation, it's reasonable, right? That he's correct.
What?
There are many of us whose conditioning comes from a specific reading of Christianity,
Yes.
right? And from that point, it's possible to have other readings of Christianity, to experience Christianity, but that doesn't negate what the gentleman is saying.
I'm going to put you on timeout.
Okay, yeah.
Can't talk no more for the rest of the show. I want to know what is your objective.
Okay.
I want to know what your objective is, right? Because there's a movement about black Americans who seem to be finding themselves. There's all kind of different black religions. And I want to know if Israel United in Christ is one of those black movements where, due to y'all, when I say y'all, I mean black Americans, unable to control your economy and society. That now you're trying to come to us who have got majority rule, that's Caribbean people, right? Indians on their reservations, and that you're now trying to be neo-colonialists, just like those European descendant people, and you're trying to colonize us.
Yeah, now we've heard that argument before from the Jewish people and white Americans in the Americas that we are a lost people, we're searching for some identity, and the Bible kind of explains what you all went through, so you're taking someone else's history. That's what the belief is. But that's actually the opposite of what we're doing. We're actually coming to liberate you all spiritually and mentally, because although you may have majority rule in the Bahamas, the Bahamian people, right, and through some of the islands that are darker nations, you still don't actually have any control over anything. You don't. If those ships stop coming here, the economy crashes. In all of these, the islands are built on surviving off of tourism. You're still dependent upon your oppressor, just like you was when we got here on ship, but it's just in a different form. Now they smile in your face and they give you a little money. Back then they didn't give you any money. Now here's it written in the Bible that it would happen then, and it still happens today. Read that Deuteronomy 28, and I want you to read verse 48.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 48.
Then I'm going to answer the question about the Eurocentric Christianity. Does the Bible speak of that we as the children of Israel, because the Bahamians would be the children of Israel from the tribe of Benjamin, the same tribe that Paul came from in the Bible. You would be that's who you are, your race, your nationality, that's who you descend from, a man named Benjamin of the nation of Israel. So we'll get that about Christianity. Let's read that about the oppression. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy 28 verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies.
God said you would serve your enemies. He's speaking about the children of Israel now. Read.
Which the Lord shall send against
Now
thee.
we always got to acknowledge that God is in everything. even with the British coming to bringing us here, God was behind that. It was for a reason, though. It's because of our rebellion of God's commandments, thinking that as long as we got a roof over our head and we got food to eat, we are okay. God said, you are princes and princesses of the earth. You are supposed to be controlling the place. You're not supposed to be getting handouts from people that come here for a day or two and then they're gone and you just surviving off the tips they gave you. Read.
Which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger.
So you would serve your enemies in hunger. So you would have to obey them for food. Read.
And in thirst.
For drink.
And in nakedness.
The clothes on your back.
And in want of all things.
That goes into religion. That goes into education. You name it. Cars, which I've been told the cars don't come from Nassau. They come from outside of the island, and you got to pay double to get the car that come from either China or you find it on auction in America. If you want a car, you got to go to the people that oppressed you. Now, here's the kicker to let you know, it's talking about us, that we would have to do those things in chattel slavery and in a form of neo-colonialism today, like you mentioned. Read on.
And he.
Now, it's a person, so letting you know it ain't Satan, because I know Christians love to say, the devil is our enemy, Satan's the enemy. And well, let's see what he, a man, did.
And he shall put a yoke of iron.
Chains.
Upon thy neck.
Satan didn't do that. That was one man, one nation of people that did that. And y'all know him as the British. He did that. Prince Charles come down here laughing in y'all face and dancing with y'all women, sexing your women. His ancestors put chains on your neck. And you have to serve them for food, water, and clothing. So if this goes back to your thing, are we coming to neo-colonial? No, we not. We try to bring truth to you to understand that if that European man stopped coming to this island with tourism, this place would be a third world island all over again. Because if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, is it not 80 to 85% of the island's monetary funds come from tourism?
Yeah, I go with that.
Okay, there we go.
Just because I have Aaron on today, right? You've been on Guardian Radio at least 6 times, minimum of 6 times, invited to speak. You all never bring no woman yet. I mean, Aaron is here. I'm glad that Aaron is here, and she can perhaps speak on behalf of women. I've glimpsed you all. You have women in your group.
Oh, yeah.
But y'all keep them hidden.
No, we don't keep them hidden.
You never bring them with you. You never bring a woman with you ever.
Yeah.
And I watch American culture. I see P. Diddy.
Oh gosh! Don't associate us with that guy.
He's one of those.
Nothing to do with
and I
him.
want to know, how come you don't allow your women to talk?
We do allow them to talk.
That's not on radio.
Get that in Titus chapter 2. We do allow them to talk. It's the thing is that war is meant for man. Women ain't supposed to be going to war. I know the European man, he put his woman in a suit, give her a gun, and put her on the front line. No, we care more about our women than that. We protect them, especially when we realize that we are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. So they don't go to war with us on the streets. No telling what we can encounter on the streets with our people. Why would we want our wives there with us? No, we don't do that. Read that in Titus chapter 2 and read verse 3 to show the woman's place, because you can't have a nation without women. You need one. We are both dependent upon each other in that matter of being fruitful and multiplying. So we can't have a nation without women. So where does he give a woman her place in his holy nation? Read that, Titus 2 and 3.
The book of Titus, chapter 2 and verse 3.
Yeah.
The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness.
This will be the mothers, the grandmothers, the aged women. Read.
Not false accusers.
Not liars. Go ahead.
Not given to much wine.
Not drunkards like I've seen on these islands. I've seen elderly women out there on the island in bikinis with stretch marks. Makes me sick. Somebody's grandma should be covered up somewhere. They out there on the beach trying to get them a young man. We call them cougars in America. What y'all call them here in the Bahamas? Y'all call them cougars too?
Sexy old heads.
Who?
Sexy old heads.
Yeah, sexy old heads is cougars. Should be covered up somewhere. That's thus saith the Lord. Let me finish this and I get that.
I'm listening.
Go ahead.
Teachers of good things.
Walking around in a bikini as an aged woman with stretch marks and cellulite ain't good things you teaching.
But it's stretch marks and cellulite part aside, right? That's not the fundamental issue. The fundamental issue is the nudity. It wouldn't matter the condition of the body.
Well,
Right?
it wouldn't, but you know what it is? Women don't think like that. They don't think like that. They show their body. They want to show off their curves. They want to shake what their mama gave them. They don't cover up like that. No, because America, the world, the European has taught you to show everything to everybody and be proud of what was given to you.
It's a wonderful conversation in this point right here, because you're in a culture where we have this tension, right, between tourism and local cultural life. We're in a culture with our proximity to the U.S., right? There'll be this cultural imperialism, the balance of the dominant culture versus the non-dominant culture. But would you find in Bahamian culture that persists? I don't know to what extent, right? Like, I haven't done a study. But the last time I went to a pool, right, I had on tights that went straight down to my ankle. And I tell this joke, right? Women go into the water in shorts and long sleeve shirt. They go into the water in shorts and t-shirt. There is a tension, right, that we, I don't want to say grapple with here, but that you can view. You can view here where you can see the stretching of sides, and it's interesting to watch the ways in which we navigate it. But I think it's important to note that the entire world has become hypersexualized, and we have convinced people that their stature, their value, and their badness, right? Because as a bad gal, as a bad man, that value of badness is tied into their sexuality and their sexual expression, And so I think across the world, people are juggling in that space, trying to find balance.
You know why they try to find balance? Because they know it's wrong, but everybody else is doing it, so they follow right along with it. And it's one dominant culture that is pushing that. Because in the Americas, we see it in the music videos with Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. They naked in the music video, basically strippers rapping, right? Who is putting them up to do that? We all know it's the Jewish executives that own the rap labels that have them like, you can't cover up and be in the video. So they're naked in there, and they teaching everyone in the earth.
I come into that because I see you all have something against Jews, but I have a caller here.
Go ahead.
You all look like every time you all talk, you all seem to be anti-Jewish. Yes. They call you all anti-Semite.
We're not anti-nobody.
Semite people, anti-Semite
truth speakers. That's the problem. Nobody wants to call out the truth about what is going on. We act like that the things that happen here in the world is our fault. Black people ain't got no power. So who's doing it?
I can find that out soon, but let's go to this caller.
Let's go to the
over there. He called you one of the American cartoons.
But let me just say, caller, let's be...
We've been called worse than that.
But let's be respectful. We've had on Cecil's show two particular sets of guests. Uncle Sarad, Calhoun Cleveland Eneas, Dr. Cleveland Eneas III, and our brethren, Israel United in Christ. And through these two sets of conversations, what people have been able to experience is other people experiencing Christianity outside of a global North European construct, right? Let's not start calling people
and what's happening
Looney Tunes.
Is challenging what they believe, and everybody has a defense mechanism. So what is it? I'm gonna call them names because what he's saying, I can't deny it. That's what's happening.
We have another caller here, so let me patch the caller through. Producer, let's go. Go ahead, caller. The caller is saying that there's a group that is purposely pinning black people against
bringing the guns into Haiti. It's someone doing that, and we all know that we don't have the power as a race to get those guns, bring them in there without being put up under the sea. We know who's bringing those things in, but we're afraid to call them out because we're afraid of truth. The same thing goes with the Christianity that we learn. We're afraid to call it out, where we got it from, why we do the things that we do. We're afraid of truth. But look what Christ said. Give me that in John chapter 8 and verse 32. You ask what our mission is? Our mission is the same thing as Jesus the Christ, to do this. Read that.
The book of John, chapter 8 and verse 32.
Uh-huh.
And ye shall know the truth,
Uh-huh.
and the truth shall make you free.
That's what our mission is, to bring the truth of the things that go on with us, the conditions that we are in. Why would God allow only us to be put into slavery? Because, going back to what you said, are we anti-Jewish? No, we're not. We are pro-truth, because we know all of us have smartphones that if you Google slavery, there is only one people on the face of the earth that pop up. It is not the people that claim to be the people of the book.
Right.
It's us. And then when we look at the book, we try to fit them in a square, what does it say, a square peg into a round hole?
round hole.
It don't fit. That's why they're at war in Gaza right now, because the people that live there right now, they know that they are not the true descendants of that place either, but they don't want us there either.
Have another caller. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah.
But no, go to the caller.
Okay, have another caller who wants to stay engaged. Go ahead, caller. You said insightful conversation, caller?
Yes, it is. It's good. It's an insightful call. I'm glad somebody's getting something. You got any questions, brother? All right. Give me that in 1 Thessalonians chapter 2. I'm going to show you why the world, especially the colored people, the black people of the world, is rising up against oppression in the ways that they can, because they can't overthrow them. They have bombs and nuclear bombs and everything, so they're doing what they can. The Bible tells you. Okay,
thanks,
let's
bro.
read that. 1 Thessalonians, real quick, chapter 2. And I'm going to show you what God is. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. And let's read verse 3. I'm going to show you what God is doing on the earth. It's a spiritual matter that's going on right now. We're living in the flesh, but God is doing something spiritual, and he's opening our eyes. And I pray the Bahamians here in Nassau, their eyes are being opened to what's happening as well. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 3.
2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 3.
Yep.
Let no man deceive you by any means.
That would go into the Christianity. We've been deceived. Nowhere in the Bible do you read where God told you to be a Baptist. Nowhere did he tell you to follow his cousin John the Baptist and make it a religion. It's nowhere in there. We've been deceived as a people.
Now, what if the early Christians just didn't trust Paul? I don't trust Paul. I hear what he's saying. I don't trust Paul. Right, talking about he's the true rock and he can carry on Jesus'
Paul
message.
didn't say that.
But I just saying, right? I'm sitting back saying I don't trust Paul,
Okay.
but maybe I can trust Jesus' cousin John.
Well, then if that's the case, John told you to follow Jesus. Yeah, but he didn't tell you to go to church on Sunday. He didn't tell you to be a Baptist and follow Jesus. He didn't tell you those things. So if you want to play on that side of the field, be devil's advocate in that way, John never told you to follow Jesus and be a Baptist. You can't find it. Let me finish this out and then we'll go. So let no man deceive you. Read on.
By any means. For that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first.
That falling away was us falling from being princes and princesses, kings and queens on the earth, to falling to being servants where we have to serve our enemy. They are over us now. We fell away. Read.
And that man of sin be revealed.
That's what's happening all over the earth. The man of sin is being revealed right before our eyes, but we are too afraid to call it out of who it is. That's what it is, because we know he holds power. Now watch this. Let me finish this, because now God is going to describe the man of sin to you where you can't even deny it. To deny this, you would have to say that God is a liar. Let me close my eyes and walk around blind, because I don't want to see the truth of the world on this earth no more. Read verse 4.
The son of perdition, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called
Whatever God say do, he does the opposite. God says keep the Sabbath day holy. He says show up on the first day of the week. He says a man should be with a woman and be fruitful and multiply. This man says that you can love whoever, and I'm going to give you rights to even marry him. We all know who that is, but it gets even more descriptive. Read.
Or that is worship, so that he, as God, sitteth in the temple of God.
And does what?
Showing himself that he is God.
All of us got smartphones. You listeners online, you got smartphones. Type in Jesus on your smartphone and see what man pops up. God is telling you who that man of sin is. He just did it in a code that Christianity, because I guarantee you in that Baptist church, you ain't never read about the description of the man of sin. And because if you did, you'd be like, man, that's the white man. He showed himself that he's God. That's the Jewish man. Yeah, they do that. They sit in the temple of God, showing themselves that they are God, and they oppose everything God said. That's who the man of sin is. We got to come to that truth. And that truth, what did Christ say? It's going to set you free. You're going to come up out of that white man Christianity. You're actually going to start celebrating Passover instead of Easter. Bunnies don't lay eggs. What the hell are you doing? Because I came in here and I seen on the front, you got a whole big old sign, you're teaching little kids that bunnies lay eggs. You're lying to the kids.
I like bunnies though.
Yeah, but they don't damn lay eggs. Jesus, when it says, Jesus said, I will be in the grave 3 days and 3 nights. Well, Good Friday to early Sunday morning, that ain't 3 nights.
So gentlemen, the energy you brought just now, I'm sure there are a lot of people
Let them call.
at home. No, don't watch that part. That are like, woo. Okay then. So here's a question I have for you, right? Especially in the face of a story that we touched on today. The story is anti-gang bill table. The government is in an attempt to create effective legislation to eradicate the violence that arises in criminal organizations, right? A big issue with this is, how do you describe a gang? How do you identify what is gang activity?
Okay.
Right?
Now the Bible describes that too.
I got you. Hold on.
Go ahead.
So we have this space here where a number of entities may fit under this definition of a gang. And it turns out that a group of people associating, committed to a common theme or ethos or ideology is not necessarily a bad thing.
Right, because in America they considered, I'm pretty sure you are aware of the history, the Black Panthers. Right. They considered them a gang, but they actually started out
in the community
feeding,
programs.
Feeding the people.
Right? How much of Israel united in Christ is religion and how much is culture? Or is there no separation, and the message that you bring to us today and in your work is that there is no separation between religion and culture? Okay. If you have religion without culture, then you don't have spirituality. Okay. If you have religion with culture, then you have spirituality. So for this movement, what is it that you bring? Is it more than just a different reading of the Bible? Do you bring a new culture or like a new system that people can plug into to experience Christianity differently? Okay, so to answer the question first, Israel united in Christ, or even acknowledging that you are an Israelite from the nation, from the tribe of Benjamin, that's not religion at all. We don't deal with religion. Religion is man-made, right? That's where you got the different denominations of European men that have made up Pentecostal, Seventh-day Adventist, Anglican, and things as Baptist, like John Smith, he did that in 1605. Religion is not what we are about at all. This is not it. This is about our true identity that is God-given from Him, of who we are as a people. That's what now. And with that being said, God left us a constitution, is what we like to call it, of what our heritage is, the way that we do things when we worship Him. The rest of the world can do what they want to. God never dealt with them at all. That's why when Moses went to Pharaoh, he said, "Who is the Lord that I should let the children of Israel go?" God never dealt with the Egyptians. He's only dealt with His people and gave them a way of living. Now, I want to address the gang thing that you mentioned real quick, and I'll come back to the religion. How do you define what is a gang and what is not? Give me that in Exodus chapter 23 and verse 2, because God talks about those things. It's just that God doesn't speak the way we speak, so we have to take His wisdom, read the words, and then apply it to where we are today. Exodus 23 and 2. Where does God speak about what is a gang? Go ahead.
The book of Exodus, chapter 23 and verse 2.
Yep.
Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil.
Now, a gang is not one person. It's a what? It's a multitude of people. And what are they on the side where they need to be, legislation needs to be written to stop them? Well, then you would find, are they doing evil? Are they breaking the laws of the land? Because we as Israelites, we tell you to obey the laws of the land. Because if you obey the laws of God, you're going to naturally obey the laws of the land, because God tells you to do those things. You won't be in the multitude of to do evil. So that's the difference in what a gang is and what is not. And we agree that legislation should be made to stop those gangs, because we are not about overthrowing any government. We're not going to get out of the oppression as a nation by rising up guns. That's not the way. It's going to be through the spirit of Jesus the Christ and the obedience to the laws of God.
But so when we get back from the caller coming to you right now, how is your community structured in a way, right, that connects people to Christ when we get back from the caller?
Okay, now I'll answer that of what is the difference between the Black Panthers, who had multicultural, it was multicultural, had different races in it and things, and you knew that them being a gang was a farce. What's the difference between everything that came before, the Nation of Islam, the Black Panthers, the Brown Berets, the Brave Lords, which was the Puerto Ricans? You had the AIM movement with the Native American Indians that rose up and started an organization once their brothers led the charge during the civil rights. What's the difference between them and us? The difference is that we are gathering a nation. That's what we're doing. We are gathering a nation of people that has been scattered all over the earth. Give me that in the book of Romans, because what has happened here is that the world thinks that God has forgotten about his people. Romans chapter 11, verse 1 and 2.
The book of Romans, chapter 11 and verse 1. I say then, hath God cast away his people?
That's what the world thinks, that God has cast away his chosen people of ancient times. He did not cast. It's going to answer. Read on.
God forbid.
God did not cast those people away. He sent them out of his homeland because we were rebellious to the commandments of God and wanted to follow after the other nations. He said, if you're not going to be holy, you can't be in the Holy Land. And he ran us out of there. Read on.
For I also am an Israelite, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin.
Verse 2 real quick.
God hath not cast away his people, which he foreknew.
God didn't cast us away. The difference between us, we're not fighting for political rights. We're fighting to gather a nation. And we're not fighting against the government. We're fighting against the lies of man-made religion to gather these people.
We have to take a break. We have to take a break. I see the phone lines are lit up. As soon as we come back from the break, we go into the two callers,
okay,
so they can engage you. But we got to take a break right now. This is Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Nuri. Of course, Aaron Green is joining me. We have Israel United in Christ, who are here. They're talking about a new institution, new way for people, black people, to be living.
Hispanics and Native Americans.
And Native Americans. Maybe we take this break now and we'll come back and you further explain that.
And they're, come here. They're comes, right? Mums and comes, come here. You could only be in one of the two categories. I have to see you as a mother. I have to put you there. I have to regard you as that, and then those rules apply to you. Or I regard you as this, and then no rules apply, right? You up for grabs. There is a tension between the women who cover up to go in the water and the women who don't. Let's put that aside for a second.
Is that tension that they want them to not be modest? They want them to dress like...
No. It's just that there's some young women, older women who cover up, some young women, older women who don't. But with the tourism, right, with the presence of tourism constantly, I'm sure young women are constantly asking themselves, am I supposed to be, is that the look, right? For the purposes of this conversation, I would say take it from the perspective of Jesus when the boy them came to him and say, but Jesus, look at them gals over there, they just naked, these junglers they like to come out here and tempt us brethren them all the time. And Jesus say, boss, your eyes ain't waking, hey, let me tell you what to do, pluck them out. If you can't let the woman walk past you and not have a sinful thought, pluck them out, right? So we got a text here that said, when the Europeans came, they met us naked. So what's the problem with us being naked? The problem isn't with the nudity, the problem is with the gaze. Right? The problem is with the gaze. There should be a space for mom to be able to go outside and absorb sun on her body. It may not be the beach. It may not be the beach at spring break when all the young people out there partying and on their head top and engaged in sexual activity. The problem isn't mom's nudity. The problem is the gaze. Does mom hold some responsibility in that dynamic? Yeah, if there's a bunch of 14-year-olds on the beach, mom or 29-year-old mom or 19-year-old mom should be thoughtful when she goes on the beach in her nudity, right? It's community, there's space to it, but how much of it is the gaze? So for the Western world,
You ready to come back?
breasts are sexual. For the rest of the world, breasts are a natural function of human existence. Yeah.
And welcome back to Guardian Radio AM. Called to C.A. Nuri, and the phone lines are lit up. The phone lines are lit up, and so I'm going to allow the listening audience to engage our guest. We have the captain here with his American. Should I still say you're all American?
We are Israelites from America.
Israelites from America. So I guess I'm an Israelite from the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, the
we all
question
American.
is, what do you put first? Is it nationality? Is it ethnicity? Is it spirituality? What's the prominent, what's the most important part of your identity?
Okay, well, with that being said, get that Sirach 17:12. All of that is combined in one. When you acknowledge that you are an Israelite, it automatically connects you with the laws of God, because the laws of God were only given to the Israelites. So to be an Israelite means you keep the laws of God. Now, do we have wicked Israelites that claim to be something and they don't do it? Yes, you read that in the Bible all the time, where the people, he said, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. We went off into sin, and idolatry was still known as the Israelites. So read that in 17 and 12.
The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 17 and verse 11.
And this is the Apocrypha that I know that in the Bahamas, especially in Jamaica, they banned the Apocrypha.
Oh, we have the Apocrypha here.
Okay, you got it here. Okay, read that 17:12.
Verse 12.
Is that what I want? Verse 11. That's what I want.
Beside this, he gave them knowledge and the law of life for inheritance.
That's what our heritage is, the laws of God. So when you say you're an Israelite, the laws automatically come with it, because that's your heritage of the way God told you to live your life. So it's all one. When I say Israelite, you automatically know I keep the laws of God.
But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You said earlier that you it's a war or something that you are on the battlefield.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you look at your typical uniform, you have some kind of war boots on. If you look at the presence, the physical presence of all of your membership, you all are big, strong, black men. You're all intimidating. You're all intimidating.
Well, you know,
and then, hold on one
go
minute.
ahead.
And then when you all preach, the lion roar that you all give, you're scaring people, man. You're all in town, but nice people. You're all aggressive.
No.
Why y'all gotta be so aggressive when you trying to convince us as nice people that you all are the right way?
Any more aggressive than the parent trying to beat Jesus into the church?
No.
But if Jesus comes to the church, it's okay.
No.
You can beat them if Jesus gets there. But anyway, why are you all aggressive?
Give me that in what do we want in Matthew, where about Christ, how he spoke. This is the thing that a lot of people.
You trying to say Jesus speak like y'all?
Yes, he did.
No,
he spoke louder than us.
My Lord is a soft-spoken Lord.
Yes, yeah, read that about how Christ spoke. Go ahead.
The book of Matthew, chapter 7 and verse 29.
Yep.
For he taught them as one having authority, and not as the scribes.
He taught as one having authority. This is the thing. This goes back to the docile Christianity, where they just put you to sleep. We shall overcome this little light of mine. And you sit there, you be asleep, been there 30 years, and you don't even know the 10 commandments of God. That's because you've never been taught the Bible in the way that it's supposed to make you come alive and set you free, like Jesus said. Jesus spoke with authority. Now, Jesus spoke like it. Now, did he give his disciples, his apostles, did he give them that same type of authority? Is it written in the Bible that you are supposed to speak his words a certain way? Isaiah 58 and verse 1. Let's read that, because you hear it sounds like we are loud and yelling and aggressive, but it's actually the way God told you to speak the Bible. Read that.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 58 and verse 1. Cry aloud.
Proverbs 28.
Cry aloud. Spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet.
He said, cry aloud. Lift up your voice like a trumpet. It's meant to be heard. Read.
And shew my people their transgression.
That's why we're allowed to show you your sins, because in your sins you've been put to sleep. And if somebody is in a burning house and it's caving in around them, do you walk up and whisper in their ears, hello, my sweet love, let's get out of here. The house is on fire. No, you cry aloud. You wake them up. You don't spare how they feel. You wait, because nobody likes to be woke up out of their sleep with a loud voice. But to get up out of that burning house, and our burning house would be sin, because we see the prophecies unfolding, like one of the callers said. We see Russia threatening, hey, they'll drop a nuclear bomb if they have to. We see Israel and Gaza at war. Ukraine and Russia is at war. Burkina Faso and them in Africa, they're ready to go to war. We see war all over the earth, protests. We are in a spiritual burning house, and we have to cry aloud so we can wake you up and show you your sins, and you can come out of them. Go ahead.
Okay, we have some callers there. Now I can try to get you both your in. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Hey, good day.
I want to ask the gentleman. I've heard pastors saying such things as the Ten Commandments was done away with. What do you have to say on that?
Okay,
So
so
you want to know if the Ten Commandments is done away with.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's been heard or said a lot by Christian pastors throughout the ages, that the commandments period was done away with, and we said we're under grace, and all we have to do is keep the faith that Jesus paid the price already. Well, let's see what Jesus the Christ actually said in the Bible about the commandments of God, not his, of God. Matthew, let's read that, chapter what, 15? Matthew 5 and 17. Yep.
The book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 17.
Yep.
Think not that I am come to destroy the law.
Off top, Christ just said, that, I'm telling you, they don't teach us nothing in Christianity. All they do is give us songs and damn church plates and tell you go home and see you next week to take your money. Christ said, don't think I came to destroy the law
Or the prophets.
That means anything that Isaiah, Ezekiel, Jeremiah, Zechariah, all of that end time prophecy about the world or the Babylon the Great, America being destroyed and the world set on fire. He said, I didn't come to change none of that. Read.
I am not come to destroy.
He said it twice. He didn't come to destroy the law of God. Well, what?
But to fulfill.
See, when you stop right there, now you have justification that I don't have to keep it. But I got to read verse 18 before we take the call. Verse 18, here's the point.
For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass.
You see heavens here, these beautiful skies on the Bahamas. You're standing on earth. They call it Paradise Island, right? Read.
One jot or one tittle.
Not one comma or one period.
Shall in no wise pass from the law.
That means the 10 Commandments was never done away with in Jesus the Christ. You're supposed to keep the Sabbath day holy. Women aren't supposed to wear pants right now.
Pause.
Oh.
Which one of the 10 is that? I just want to make sure I read it. Which one
About
of the
the
10
pants?
is that?
About the pants?
Yeah.
The
Which
first
one,
one, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul, with all thy mind.
Take that, your pants wearing.
No, this
Because if you love God, you'll do what he said do.
What's the problem with the pants? Is the pant?
This goes back to your question
Is-
about the nudity.
Is the pants a symbolism of an identity, right? Is the pants a symbol of an identity?
And a
For
spirit.
instance, I live in a place where there are bugs everywhere. If I go in in the bush
You
looking,
can fight you about the pants.
I ain't fighting.
God gonna win.
What I'm saying is, if I go in the bush, because I live in the bush, and I go in looking for teas, the leaves to heal myself, and food, and trapping. Sometimes pants is the safer thing to wear than a skirt.
No, that's your mind telling you that.
That's your mind
what
telling
is
you that.
different?
The
What is
snake
different?
tell me I wouldn't bite you
What
on
is
your leg if you
different?
had your leg covered.
Nah, it's gonna bite you regardless, because it can bite through pants. So if it's gonna bite
Not
you, well,
this-
damn it, have on what God said have
not this
on. At least God will save you if you're doing what God said do.
So here's the next side. Men wore robes back then.
Yeah, that wasn't dresses.
I know, that's why I call them a robe.
I'm glad you know that.
Right now, men are suffering from health issues partially due to the types of clothing that they wear.
Well, I know here in the islands, I know the Benjamin, because that's what y'all, I'll call you Benjamin, because that's your name in the Bible. Y'all wear a lot of tight, hugging, European cut style balls. Yeah, man ain't supposed to be wearing that. It's immodest. Your man are immodest.
I have another caller.
Yeah, go ahead. We're going to get to the pants too. Go ahead.
Get the pants ready and let's get this caller in. Go ahead, caller. Can you hear me?
Listen.
Reading out the Bible, COINTELPRO.
Let him experience something he can respond to that.
Why am I COINTELPRO?
You were talking earlier about truth and people are afraid of truth, right? What I want to know, what is truth to you? Like, how do you define truth?
I'm glad you asked.
Let me.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
Unfortunately, caller, we at the 12 o'clock hour.
Oh gosh, we run out of time.
Okay. But let me answer this about his truth. Psalm 119, 151. What is the truth? You got to be quick. Read it.
Book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 151. Thou art near, O Lord, and all thy commandments are true.
That's the truth.
I gotta invite you back.
Yes,
I gotta invite you back. It's been Guardian Radio AM with C.A. Nuri. It was a lively and provocative show. It's Israel United in Christ. You can see him on the side of the street.
Yeah, All Purpose Way in East Street.
Yes, and where we gotta go, All Purpose Way in East Street. Have a
Thank
wonderful
you for
day.
having us.
Yes.
What is the nation? Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models.